useless. You are a useless heifer who has never done anything except
you're a great woman.
Nice.
You're a very godly woman, aren't you?
Both of you be nice.
You started it. Hey, you can dish it out, but you can't
I
take
started it. Didn't you come on here talking about McFlurries or something?
You called me a baby farm, and now you're going to pretend to be offended? Get the
I said you're the ultimate sex worker, actually.
I want to stick up for women who do want to be good wives, who do want to be good mothers, who think that that's a worthwhile thing to do with their lives, and not have them be subject to being called baby factories by disrespectful, chunky heifers with attitude problems who can't even properly articulate a single thought in their head. So, with that, I'm going to go to bed, and you guys can talk to the nice Wilson instead. Maybe you'll feel better now when he comes back.
Continue pandering to
Mic
me.
drop! Mic drop! Oh my God! Watching this woman come on here and completely destroying this chick on this podcast is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. Let's watch.
Well, why don't you ever talk about men? You always talk about how much you hate women every day.
With men nonstop.
That's all you do every day.
When do you debate with anybody ever
feel the need
about
to.
any worldview? You can't even denounce the LGBT in your own faith. How could you ever talk to me about anything? I debate it professionally for a living against men and women. You go on a TikTok after you got with a guy who had 1 million TikTok followers, so you could piggyback on that to fame. I would not bull me here, sweetheart. It ain't gonna work well.
Wait, Andrew, check your
piggybacking.
text.
We actually loved
Check
each
your
other.
text, man.
But it's okay.
I'd be curious to see his
I
wife
forgive you.
come on and talk.
Yeah, she has.
Oh, she has.
Yeah, she has. Would you like to debate with her? I'll bring her down right now. She
Let's
can
do
take
it.
the
Oh,
seat.
yes, let's
sure.
do
If
it.
you want to bring
Let's
her
do
down,
it.
I'd like
I'll
to
go
challenge
right
her.
now. I'll go get her real quick.
Go
I'll
get
be
her.
right back.
Rachel, Rage. Oh my God.
Let's get
see what-
Rachel Wilson.
Yeah, okay.
Hey, you see his confidence? He's like, oh, this chick just don't know what she asked for.
Because if we're saying
Gonna get
that we're
Rachel
getting
Wilson.
misogynistic,
Can we
I
get
literally
Rachel a
got
cigarette?
dragged out of bed for this. This better be good. I hear my husband is a woman-hating misogynist, and I'm here to show proof of life. He unchained me from the stove just long enough to be here. So
She's out of the dog cage.
how
for
can I
this,
help you,
guys.
ladies?
Who?
so have you watched your husband talk to women on the podcast?
Yeah, I listen to every single podcast he does. I've also been on the podcast, and I debate women all the time myself.
Okay.
In fact, I was listening to you earlier describe how you think that men should pay for dates with women who want to be equal, don't want to give them children, and also want to have their own careers. And that absolutely blew my mind.
You don't think that men should pay on the first date?
Oh, I think they should pay on the first date for women who are going to be wives, not for women like you.
I wouldn't be a wife?
Not if you're going to refuse to give a man children, have to
It's
have your
not
own career working outside the home.
It's not refusing
and
to give
split
a
up the
man
chores. No,
children.
you're a roommate. Why would a man pay for you if you're just a roommate? Do you want to be equal or no?
Well, I have a conversation with my partner, and we've discussed having children.
Your
I'm not
partner.
taking away from them having children. We've decided together that having children is probably not the best idea.
If you're equal partners, why should he pay for your stuff?
Because a man at the beginning of the relationship should want to prove that they are invested in the relationship.
So what are you proving? Like, well,
I'm
he's
there.
If it was a man,
You're
I'd be
there.
like, hell to the no, to the
Well,
no,
like,
no.
if it's not
hell to the
equal,
no.
what do you-
I'd be like,
he's
no,
there-
thank you, ma'am. You can pay for your own supersized McValue meal, and I will go find a woman who actually wants to be a wife if I'm gonna pay for shit.
You
Like,
said you're
makes no sense.
You said your equal 50% is just being there. So does that mean he's doing 70% because he's paying and there too? You're both there.
No, but I think
So
it's
how is that not-
showing the investment. Women show investment with time, because if you do want to have children, there's limited time. But I think that women, they value different things. Like, they value when a man provides for them, especially on a first date, a first meeting.
And men
Okay, but she's still not explaining what is it that she brings to the relationship.
Men value.
So you providing your glorious presence is what he's investing in.
If he values my presence, yes. I don't.
Is that all you have to offer is your presence? The man is also being present too. That means little to nothing when that's all you have.
Really see
Well,
a
I mean,
huge
simps are
issue.
gonna simp. There's a simp out there, for everyone. So
I don't think
guess
that's the right way to
oh,
go
it's
about it.
simping. That's the worst simping ever. I'm gonna let you live at my house for like practically free and split the chores and pay for all your shit. That's simping. That's like the
Or just like a
definition
guy
of
who
simping.
genuinely likes.
I'm gonna tell y'all this too. Another reason I believe that she's calling her man a simp is because she said that her and her partner decided that having kids wouldn't be the best thing for their relationship. It's a possibility that she swayed him to think that way. It's a possibility that she got in his head, or at least maybe she was like, I don't really want kids. And she said it in such a way that he thought, maybe, you know what you're saying sounds good. It makes a lot of sense. All right, I guess we don't have to have kids. That could have just as well been a man that wanted to have kids one day. But we all know that some women have the ability to sway men in certain directions. Some men.
Likes you. Do you pay any bills with your husband?
No, but I'm a stay-at-home mom. I raise the children. I cook all the meals. Andrew has never done a house chore ever in 17 years. I do all of that. I bring him his food. I bring him his drinks. I keep track of his schedule. Basically do anything he needs me to do to help him because that's my duty in the relationship. So yeah, I mean, if you want to talk about investment, I'm pretty invested. So he feels like, if I want this traditional wife role and I actually do all those things, then he feels like it's worth it to provide. But if I were to come in here and be like, well, I want my own career and you have to do your own laundry and we're going to split the chores 50-50 and I want to be equal, he'd be like, okay, then you can be equal and pay for all your shit. Like, why would he pay for my stuff? This makes no sense. You guys have to choose. Do you want to be strong, independent, equal women? Or do you want chivalry and protection and provision? You want the best of both. You want all of the rights and all of the privileges, and you want none of the duties and none of the responsibilities. And that's bullshit. It's like you didn't have a mom to tell you that this isn't how the world works or something. Like, my daughters don't get that nonsense from me. I'm like, no, that's not how that works.
She's making the statement that it's only fair if you decide that you want to have this 50-50 partner relationship, that you also come out of pocket 50-50 for the bills, and not be the type of woman that will say, hey, look, I want to do everything 50-50, but I still expect for you to pay all, if not majority of the bills. How is that 50-50? How is that equal to your partner?
So if your daughters...
Why are you so entitled? That's what
And then another thing too, real quick, is you can be equal and still be a full-time stay-at-home mom. Because the role that you play providing for your family, taking care of the kids, making sure all their needs are met, taking them to different little after-school events and making sure they get to school on time, wake up, fed, off to school, taking care of the home. That role, that can also look like being equal to your partner. Just because you're not making an income from it, don't mean it's not a full-time job.
That's not how that works.
So if your daughters...
Why are you so entitled? That's what I want to know.
If your daughters went on a first date, you want them to split the bill.
No.
What's that?
If your daughters went on a first date, would you want them to split the bill?
Only if they're going to be feminists, which they're not, because I didn't raise them to be that way.
Okay.
That's how my parents' relationship is. It's like my mom does the same stuff that you described, and I think it's perfect. Like, my mom might not be contributing to rent, my dad makes the money, but she's contributing something else. She's doing a job that's just as equal as his job, but she's not getting paid because she's doing the household duties that she's doing the same thing, whether or not it's being paid. Like, my parents are fortunate enough where my dad makes enough money where she doesn't have to work and she's able to provide those things. Therefore, it's the same thing as money, in my opinion, like spending time and working around the house.
Well, her and I would be on the same page then. I like it.
Yeah,
And
I
she
mean,
raised
it even
us.
goes beyond division of labor. It's more than
Right.
about division of labor. Like, I have tremendous amount of respect for Andrew. He is the head of the household. He's the person that has the major burden of most of the responsibility. We've had a home invasion. He was the person who had to go deal with that and risk his life. You know, he's worked 60, 70-hour weeks for years so that I could stay home and our kids didn't have to be raised by strangers in daycare. I mean, there's a massive amount of responsibility on this man, and he's extremely competent. He is a really loving, honorable man who has like very firm boundaries and stands by them and takes very good care of his family. So he gets the big piece of chicken, he gets the respect, he gets the love and the admiration. And because I'm loyal and I'm doing all those things, then he provides for me and protects me and the kids. And yeah, I mean, this is how it works. Now, if you don't want that,
Pause for a second, because people will hear that and think that it's a fully transactional relationship. And I would argue that to some degree, transaction in a relationship has to occur in order for there to be some sort of stability and equality within that relationship, right? Like there has to be some give and take. There has to be, I do this thing, you do this thing. It doesn't necessarily be like, if you don't do this thing, then I won't do this thing. It just still needs to be some sort of transaction occurring there.
it's for me and protects me and the kids. And yeah, I mean, this is how it works. Now, if you don't want that and you want this egalitarian stuff where we're equal partners, he's my partner, then you got to pay for your own shit. And you got to do your own work, and you better, like, you know, take care of all your own stuff, and don't expect the man to go answer the bump in the night, because you're strong, you're equal, right? If you're equal, you can go take care of that. You can go deal with the man that breaks in the middle of the night. You can change the tire in the rain. If the basement floods and there's sewage backing up into it, I guess you can go deal with that, right? So you just have to choose. Don't do this bullshit where you're like, we're equal partners, except for when there's anything dirty, dangerous, difficult. That's all his job. I just sit here and grace him with my glorious presence. That's entitlement, that's narcissism, it's terrible behavior, it's ruining society. And then on top of it, you feel no obligation to produce future generations. You want him to just let his lineage die with, die with him. And you feel super entitled to that too. It's like,
I don't understand why you can't get the concept that I've talked to my partner. I'm not taking away his ability to have children. We've both agreed we don't want to have children. If he doesn't want to have children, I'm not taking that away from him.
To be fair, I did say he's a pathetic simp. So, I mean, that's right in line with being a pathetic simp. You just,
I think you would just respect women's choices.
Until I die. It's just, you guys are selfish materialists is what I'm getting. Life is about me and my comfort and what I want and my, I live.
Now, this is somewhere that I would disagree with her. If the man don't want kids, the man don't want kids. One thing I don't like is when somebody that doesn't want kids have kids. There's people out here that should not have kids, that also do not want to have kids. And I'd be so glad when I hear that they don't want to have kids, because I'm like, oh my God, you would ruin that child.
For me every day, I wake up with no thought of the future or any duties or responsibilities I have to anyone other than myself. And that's great. So it's like, if you want to live that way, I guess, but I'm just looking at you and I'm listening to you and I'm wondering where this entitlement and this sense of confidence is coming from.
I'm
because
entitled because I don't want to have children and I like when men pay on first dates. That's entitlement.
Well, what are you useful for?
I would say that women have intrinsic value. Just
No, you. What are you specifically?
Well, I'm a woman,
yeah.
so I have intrinsic value. Sad that you don't see that.
Why? How?
Because I'm a...
The one intrinsic value that I can think of that a woman has, and I was having this conversation with somebody that I sent this video to, and it is the ability to procreate. That is like the main intrinsic value that a woman has. And we can eliminate that. What other intrinsic value would you have? Or what other intrinsic value in general would women have if we eliminate the main one? Because the friend I was talking to yesterday kind of put something in my mind that I never really thought about before, which is the fact that there were men many of hundreds of years ago that had women that their only use for was to procreate with. But outside of that, they were being in a relationship with men, keep their lineage going. But really, they romantically wanted to be with men. They were using women for the initial intrinsic value that a woman has. But she doesn't want kids.
Person, and
you're
everyone
breathing?
everyone has value. It depends on who's looking at you.
Do men
and
have
seeing it.
intrinsic value?
Yeah, they do, but I said that it's different. It's a different type of value.
But you're not explaining what that value is. Like, you're just throwing out this imaginary thing, and what makes it not imaginary is by giving some sort of demonstration.
But feminism is about equality. So if it's different, then how is that equal?
No, they can be equal in the sense of they can both work. You can be a stay-at-home mom and not pursue a career. That's fine, but women should have the opportunity and the choice.
So do you think women should work too?
Women should be allowed to work.
No, I mean like in your relationship, if you're not raising kids, should you both in your marriage, let's say you get married, have a job, both of you?
Yeah, but I think that a woman's job could be a little less harsh, I guess. Like, women shouldn't have to go work some 9 to 5 and do this climbing of a corporate ladder. But like for myself, I've found a job.
She wants a very soft, very easy life where a man is taking care of her and she does little to nothing but sit around and eat. That's what it sounds like
That
and looks like.
allows me to stay home and is not super strenuous. And I think that a lot of women should be able to have the option to either stay at home or work.
What would you do?
Beyond having the simple option, we just simply don't live in a time where that is a possibility for most women. Back in the day, it used to be. Today, you need two people making the income in order to survive, in order to keep a roof over your head, because the cost of living is so much higher than people's earning potential these days.
Lol Paladins donated $69. W to Rachel. L to fat prostitute feminists who have no value and TikTok he who hate men and provide no value to society. The problem is they had mothers, but their mothers are bad people.
My mother's amazing, and I love her very much.
It's wild to me because you asked, do I hear how my husband talks to women? I
Giovanni
actually think it's
J.
way too
donated
nice.
$69. Don't forget,
There's two more
first
coming
Cher
in.
did it as well,
Thank you, Jim.
including BG, and said she couldn't remember if she ever did B/B/G. Pretty sure anyone that's got gangbanged and posted it would remember.
I have not gotten gangbanged, and BBG is not the same thing as a gangbang, but okay.
Threesome. Have you done a threesome?
Not two guys.
GMD Jim donated $69. You called him your partner.
If the average price of rent and mortgage is $2,000 a month, that's $24,000 a year, and taking out the cost of property insurance, right? And the average income in America is what, around $50K? You're supposed to be earning 3 times that of your rent and mortgage, which will put you closer to $70K. Having a household that's bringing in that sort of income is definitely possible, but it may take 2 people to do it.
It is not hatred to criticize women. It is in no way hateful to notice when women are acting like entitled narcissists and to call them out on that. Like I said, all the women at this table could tell me all night long about what they think they deserve and what their rights are and what they should have and what they ought be able to do. But none of you can tell me what duties, responsibilities, or obligations you have outside of yourself to society, to the people around you. You would say things like, I'm smart and I'm funny and I'm just a really great person and I'm a good friend, and all these worthless platitudes. But there's no like sacrifice. You don't ever feel you need to sacrifice anything for anyone outside yourself. You're not willing to have sleepless nights so that you can raise babies and produce human beings that are gonna go out into the world and have a legacy and have an effect, right? You're not really willing to do much of anything unless it benefits you. And then if someone questions, if Andrew comes on here and says, Let me poke around and see why you think these things. Let me see if there's any logic behind your beliefs. Let me see if you even understand why you believe the things you believe. You think that's hateful. You think that's misogynistic. You think he's mean. No, it's just that you're used to being treated like a child princess and being carried around on a cushy little pillow in life with absolutely no opposition, with nobody ever going, hey, wait, what are you doing? What are you providing in life? What are you doing for anyone else outside yourself? You haven't ever been challenged on anything because you're a pretty girl, right? I'm young and I'm cute. Why are you questioning me? Why are you so hateful? Where's all the trauma? No, I'm just a 44-year-old woman who's actually lived, raised 5 children, worked really hard in my life for everything I have. I take care of, other family members. I help at my church. I do things that aren't just for me. So when I see girls that behave this way and have this mentality, you're damn right I'm gonna come on here and say some shit, especially if I get dragged out of bed to defend, this little girl that's saying my husband must be traumatized and hates women. It's just garbage. You're full of shit. You have no idea what you're talking about.
So these are
I
the
hope
people
that
of
helps.
the Orthodox Church? You guys seem lovely. I would love to go to the Orthodox Church.
I think you're upset
so sweet
because
and loving.
coming from
All right, so let's pause this for a second. I remember back in the day, if somebody cooked like she just did, usually what will happen is you will see yourself in the person that she just talked about. The person with the bad behavior, with the bad characteristics. You will see yourself in that individual. You will put your head down and you'll have this look of disappointment and sadness on your face. Not today. That's not what happens today. These girls here, to the ones that this information applies to, will look at this woman and either have this daze in their head, like they're just like the information going in one ear and out the other, and it's never stopping in the middle of the process, or they would just completely disagree with her. Delusional. This girl right here, she's saying that that's not her, that this woman is not speaking about her. Rachel's not speaking about her, but Rachel can only go off of the information that she presents to her. Don't make yourself look like the woman that Rachel is speaking about, and she won't call you out for being such.
From someone who I know personally, I'm not a 10. I am very self-aware in that regard. I think that there might be animosity coming from you because you're maybe not as good looking.
Oh, I'm definitely not. I've been on the show. I've rated myself. But I grew up in an era where we didn't all think we were models. When you were growing up in the 80s and 90s, everyone didn't think they were a 10. Like, all of us girls who were not going to have modeling careers or be the hot cheerleader, we all knew that, and we were fine with it. And we didn't think we deserved 6 foot, 6 pack, 6-figure man. We were just like happy to meet a nice boy who liked us back. This was before Instagram and all this crazy narcissistic insanity. Huh?
You're calling those boys simps.
No, I'm calling your boy a simp.
Yo, Rachel is a fool. Yo, this woman is funny. She just says it like how it is. Yo, she just straight up saying how it is.
He's a simp. That's simp. A nice boy who likes you isn't the same thing as some absolute goober who's going to pay for all your crap.
He's not paying for everything.
Anything.
I'm just saying at the beginning of the relationship, on the first couple dates, a man should take the investment and pay for the first couple dates.
She's not paying for everything. She said that his family's paying for some.
Yeah. And I think it's only fair that I pay a portion of rent.
For a girlfriend?
Mortgage.
You're not even married. Why would his family pay for your stuff? You're not married to this guy.
You said that
They're
his
not.
brother or something about
They
it's
all
like
own a
Nepo
home.
family.
And I help with
She pays the water
some
bill.
of the bills.
She pays some of the mortgage.
I pay some of the mortgage.
But
pays the
that's not
water
even
bill.
my question is, it's not even fitting to the dynamic that you're expressing so much interest in.
Exactly.
Like, you're expressing so much interest in not only the first dates, but that you also want to be supported by this person. And this
I don't
dynamic,
think that means not paying any bills or doing any sort of housework or like helping in the relationship. Like, I don't think that it's entitled. I just think that it's a better dynamic long term for a man who has the financial stability to be with them rather than a man who doesn't have any sort of future plan to provide for you.
Do you think the woman needs a future plan though?
I think that women should, and this might be controversial too. Is she gone?
She's here.
She's still here?
She's still here.
Oh, okay. I think it might be controversial, but I think women, even if they're not working a traditional 9 to 5, should have some sort of money saved up separate from their husbands in case there's domestic violence or there's divorce or things like that. Like, you should have some of your own income.
I don't think you need it.
What? Saving money for a rainy day, like you're predicting or projecting that something will go wrong in the relationship and you might have to dip out. Let a man try to do something like that. The woman will try to take that money too. Are you kidding me? And the contradiction that's coming from her too. Like, well, which one is it? She's saying, she'll sit here and say like she wants the man to provide for her, but then she'll also sit here and say that, oh, I don't see there's anything wrong with, you know, paying a little portion of some of the bills. But long term, what do you want long term? Don't speak about the beginning stages. Talk about long term. What do you want long term? You want long term for the man to provide for you.
A keepsake of like if there's domestic violence. I think like you need
your
to be
own
contributing. Yeah, like you should feel safe in your relationship and like pick something. If you want a job, just and that's equal. Or you could do the equal housework or and have kids. Like there's an equality thing that's different. Feminists believe that there's equality, but you're talking about things not being equal.
I think it is equal. Like,
I am going to jump off here because Andrew's going to come back, and I am actually going to go to bed. But does anybody have any like final questions or phones to pick it
I
up?
think Star back there had like a thing she wanted to come back and say.
I'm just curious if anyone on the...
Sorry, what?
I'm just curious if anyone else on the show has brought up like internalized misogyny to you.
Yeah, I get it every day of my life. So you don't know my
okay.
background, but I wrote a book about the history of feminism and how almost everything that the normal person thinks about it is actually wrong. The way that the feminist liberation movements unfolded is garbage that was rewritten history by women's studies departments. And I debate feminists all the time, so this is normal for me. Of course, I've heard absolute garbage bullshit like internalized misogyny. It's not a thing. It doesn't exist. It's pure coke.
Okay.
I love women, but I do think that women have proper roles. And I think that the biggest problem, the problem with you and most of the other girls that have a problem with me, is that you don't understand that this modern world and all this beautiful technology around you that you're sitting in right now, if it weren't for men building that and maintaining that, you would have no illusion of being able to be a strong, independent woman and have all these choices and do what
But
you
why
want.
do men do all of that?
They do it because they're benevolent and they are good. Isn't that crazy? They're actually really nice and they care about us even though they don't have to.
But they're getting something out of
you. If men
you.
were as bad and misogynistic as you think, they would put us in cages and we'd be, baby farms. There would be baby farms.
I think you might be a little bit of a baby farm.
Because they could. No, they could.
You're
They
a bit
could
of a
do that
baby
to us.
farm. Haven't you popped out 5 children?
Yeah.
You're
I'm
a baby
mother.
farm.
Oh.
I think that's the
supposed to be
ultimate
an
form of
insult?
sex work, actually.
What's that?
I think
What?
I think that you popping out.
She got all the girls over there like, what? How is this woman being a wife with kids that she gave her husband after they were married? How is that X work? What? Calling this woman a baby farm just because he heard her use the term baby farm.
5 children is the ultimate form of sex work because without those
Why-
children,
Why
would your
are you
husband
using
provide for you?
degrading language. Wait a minute. Why
you
are you
think your
using
parents
degrading
are a
language?
baby farm?
Popping out babies. Popping out babies? This
Well,
is so
if
you're
you-
against
If you didn't
people having babies?
if you didn't provide children, would your husband marry you?
No.
Exactly.
Why should he?
Exactly. That's not you eating. It's very simple. Let me explain it. If a man want kids, he's not gonna get with a woman that doesn't want kids. If she expressed to him that she doesn't want any kids, why would he have gotten with her where he wants kids? He has to find someone that aligns with the same thing that he wants. It's that simple. It's not, oh, she's a baby farm. No. She also wanted kids. Stupid folks say stupid stuff.
Exactly. So you're a baby farm to him.
Marrying
No,
someone is
these
also
are
about
my
starting a
children.
family.
Yeah, a family.
These are my
A
children
baby
too.
farm,
You
essentially.
should be so lucky because you're gonna die alone.
Okay.
Early.
Thank you
Probably
so
early
much.
on top of that. So
Thank you so
I mean,
much.
if you would you like me to go wake up my children and get them down here too, so you can tell them that they're like
No.
gross little.
I don't think it's
trophies,
appropriate.
That
I don't think it's really
popped
appropriate.
them out. That they're the result of baby farm. I mean, take your little snarky little insults and shove them up your ass because
Okay.
Do you think
it's
your
women like
parents
me.
did that?
It's women like me
My
who are
chil-
doing
my parents only
what
had
women
one
are supposed
child.
to do.
My parents
You
only
are
had one.
useless. You are a useless heifer who has never
Hey.
done anything except
You're
gratify your
a
own
great
desire.
woman.
Be nice.
You're a very godly woman, aren't
Both of you be
you?
nice.
You started it. Hey, you can dish it out, but you can't
I
take
started it. Didn't you come on here
called
talking about
me a
McFlurries
baby
or something?
farm. You called me a baby farm, and now you're going to pretend to be offended. Get the.
I said you're the ultimate sex worker, actually.
Okay.
she's a
Yeah,
mother.
me being devoted to one man for 17 years and giving him
You're the
children is
ultimate.
sex work.
You're the
Okay.
ultimate
So your
sex
parents
worker.
are also part of a baby farm because you were born.
My mom had one child and she
What does that
also
have to
worked.
do? So-
But I know that my parents would have gotten married without having to have children.
If I milk a cow, the cow's still providing milk, though, even if
On
I
the
only milk him
farm.
once. So you're
Now
calling
look,
yourself.
we don't believe that marriage is only for the purpose of children. Had we gotten married and for some reason biologically I couldn't, I had a medical issue and could not give Andrew children, he would not have divorced me and he would not have left me. That's not what we believe in. We believe that marriage is also a sacrament of our church. You don't get divorced for a reason like that.
Right.
However, why would a man marry a woman who's giving him nothing like you are? You don't bring
See, you just don't
anything
value
to the man except
you don't
what?
value women for just
Existing.
being us. Like you,
Why should we? She said, you don't value women for just being us. What does that mean? Some of y'all are horrible. Why should that be valued? Oh my God.
you just don't
I
see.
value people, but that's different than what a man would want to get married for. Why do you not understand these basic distinctions?
A man could want to
Same-
get married without wanting to have children, but that's not what your husband did with you, honey.
No man does
Honey.
that except for a simp. Or some
No.
guy who's just
Men-
a
some
cougar
men just don't wanna
materialist
have
who doesn't want a
children.
family.
Sweetie. Sorry.
Sweetie, honey. Yeah, I love these feminists are always sweetie, honey. They get so sassy, but this is going to be
You're
Clip's
very
gold.
sassy.
Yeah. Well, listen, I was dragged out of bed because you're sitting here insulting my husband and saying, oh, your wife must be some victim or there must be trauma. Maybe your wife is bad to you. You're saying all kinds of personal garbage. And then when I come on here and tell you what's what, you're like, how dare she? She's so mean. She's not a good Christian. It's like, well, then don't say this stupid shit, lady. Don't come on here and talk a bunch of smack. And then when I come down here and set you straight, you're like, I'm shocked and offended.
You definitely didn't set anyone straight.
Oh, well, the chat disagrees with you. And it's
Okay.
straight, not straight. I don't
What-
know.
what do you
Women
have?
do this
I think
weird
it.
thing where they say
You're just
strawberry. and
pandering.
I think it
You're just pandering.
shows. I think it shows the type of woman you are. The fact that you got out of bed and came down here to not only defend your husband, but to defend women at the right instinct that they should be in. So
Hell, the main reason I do the stuff I do is because I was really shamed for not going down a career path. I had a full college scholarship that I declined because I wanted to be a mom instead, and everyone around me thought it was some massive tragedy, that I was going down the wrong path. I was going to regret not being a career babe. Everybody said, oh, it's such a shame you're just a mom.
And I'm glad she's making that point right now because I've seen countless times, especially when I was working for the hospital, I saw where there were women that went to college. They got in their field of choice and they was working and earning an income and their husband was doing the same thing, then those same women would get pregnant and they would get on their paternity leave. They would leave their job for X amount of months. And then when it was time for them to come back, they wouldn't come back because they found more fulfillment in being a mother. They enjoyed it more. Now they have this whole career that they left behind, student loans that they left behind that the husband probably gonna end up paying off, but it was a sacrifice for them because they found, like a lot of women do find, that being a mom fulfills them so much that, you know, that whole job thing is not necessarily for them. And that's not all women, but it does happen, just like it happened with Rachel here.
And turns out there's nothing I could have done with my life that's more meaningful than having 5 children, raising them well, and, you know, being a good mom. There's nothing I could do in the career world that's going to last the way that will have a lasting impact.
I want to experience that so bad. I ain't like, not to say I'm gonna leave my career behind, but I understand, and every single man that I know personally that have kids, they all say the same thing. It's the most rewarding feeling ever. At least to people that are actually trying to be good parents.
In this world. And I was shamed for it. And I was made to feel like, oh, I was losing somehow in life. So yeah, I don't want other women to feel that way. I want to stick up for women who do want to be good wives, who do want to be good mothers, who think that that's a worthwhile thing to do with their lives, and not have them be subject to being called baby factories by disrespectful, chunky heifers with attitude problems who can't even properly articulate a single thought in their head. So, with that, I'm gonna go to bed, and you guys can talk to the nice Wilson instead. Maybe you'll feel better now when he comes back.
Continue pandering to
Mic
me.
drop!
Rachel?
Mic drop! Oh my God! She called her disrespectful, chunky heifer.
I mean, that's kind of what it comes down to a certain point. Like, you would not marry and provide for her if she could not have your children.
You should probably
Yeah, I don't think you understand the distinction in faith.
They talked
And
about
that within the
Yeah, she
confines
talked
of our
about how
faith,
he
that's
would
not even
still,
permitted.
he would not divorce her if she couldn't have children. But the beginning stages of their relationship were that they decided they were going to have children. If she said she didn't want to, he would not have married her and
because
provided
they're
for her.
Christian. If there was a,
How do you even know that? You're
We
just making
talked to
these kind
her.
of
No, we talked to
broad-
her.
You're just kind of making these broad assumptions. But the thing is that she asked this fantastic question. So what? What would be the problem with a man having a preference of a woman who promises him children so his lineage can live on?
Right.
How would that make her a prostitute? That's
It's not-
insanity.
That's not what I'm calling a prostitute. I'm saying that it's the ultimate form of sex work.
Bruh, what do you think a freaking prostitute is? A sex worker, you idiot! Oh my God. The ignorance it's too much for me sometimes.
And that would be the ultimate form of prostitution. What do you
They're
think
not the
sex work
same
is?
thing.
Yes, it is. She just, you know what? If y'all want to watch the rest of this, I'll have a link down below to the whatever podcast channel because I'm losing brain cells over here. Look, I'm gonna see y'all in the next one. Peace.